Hello and welcome back to another of my monologues. Today I'm up in the fabulous studio, which will soon be, unfortunately, ripped apart as I no longer do the interviews that I used to do, and that Julia and I will be going onto the land to grow stuff, and we'll be reporting from there. I'll still be doing the monologues, so have no fear about that, and uh, making as many videos as possible to inspire those who want to do likewise, or to show that it is possible when you get to a certain age that you can actually still do these things if you keep yourself healthy. And health is what I'm going to be talking about today in today's show, because I was sent this. This is a book. It's available. I assume it's available on Amazon and places like that. Yeah, it's printed by Amazon, like they all are. Apart from Biggleswick, the town that wouldn't comply. By the way, if you want to get a copy of that, the interest in the book is growing rapidly, so I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Go to richardvobes.me and show your interest, and you'll be notified. It's a limited print run initially. I will do another print run if more people, if I run out of books. But if you want to get it in before Christmas and you want to do it, that's no problem. Somebody asked me if I would reserve 5 books for them, and whilst that is possible, if people buy, say, 3 books, I'll make sure that there is a discount. 3 books and over. Potentially, it might even be 2 books, a bit of a discount to incentivize people so they can buy, for a loved one, a present if the loved one doesn't understand what the hell they're talking about because they think they're bonkers, like many of us have loved ones who do think that we're all bonkers because we believe in different things. Anyway, this book is called Big Pharma. Guess it quacks like a duck, it says here with a picture on the front. I don't know how it's not going to go in focus because the camera is fixed focus. Sorry about that. I want to read to you what's on the back because you may or may not disagree with this. And if you do agree with it, then you'll perhaps be interested in some of the extra bits and pieces. And now I'm going to read a little excerpt from it, just a small bit, just to keep you going. So on the back of this, so this is really just a book promotion, but there you go, whatever. I haven't been paid to say this, by the way. I'm sure you've heard as much as I have about the wonders of modern medicine, it says here, and how we're all living longer, happier, healthier lives because of it. That's strange, he says, because according to official sources, healthcare is the 3rd leading cause of death, and life expectancy has been going down since 2014. That's true, isn't it? We do know that people seem to be getting iller and iller. That's not all. Despite the $4 trillion a year on healthcare, cancer has tripled since the 70s. Diabetes is skyrocketing. Arthritis is endemic. Heart disease is epidemic. Alzheimer's disease is through the roof. Autism has reached unprecedented levels. Obesity is off the charts. And the rates of multiple sclerosis, lupus, asthma and migraines have all gone through the ceiling. This is true. We know, it seems, and I'm one of those who do tend to agree with that Big Pharma is not really useful for our health. It does seem to be that actually they've discovered a way to make lots of money by keeping people ill and keeping them on the pills. That does seem to be what's going on. Well, I want to read you a little excerpt here. I'll put the link in the description, by the way, should you wish to inquire more about it. There are 5 myths, apparently, that the author, by the way, I should say, Anthony Samaroff, I think that's how you pronounce it, Samaroff, who very kindly sent me the book, and thank you very much. It's going to be some nice bedtime reading when in between, digging the potatoes and those sort of things that one does. Might do a little bit of moonshine. What do they call it? Planting by moon? There's a thing. It's a thing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get too het up about it. But there is a thing in which you can plant by moon. I'm not quite sure how you do it because it must be pretty dark, especially if the cloud comes over and you can't quite see where the land is. And you wake up in the morning and you go, yeah, that was a good idea, wasn't it? Torches and lanterns trying to sort of stick some celery in the ground. Anyway, this is myth number 4. Don't do drugs, it says. We're told that it's alternative medicine that's dangerous, but no neuropath, is that how you pronounce it? Neuropath or neuropath? has ever prescribed a treatment that caused about 140,000 heart attacks and 60,000 deaths. Now he names in the book certain products. I'm not going to name those because they'll get sued, but like a certain product did. No homeopathic remedy has caused 94,000 deaths of breast cancer, like hormone replacement treatment. I'll mention that one. That one's all right. Chiropractic care has never created an epidemic of opiate addiction like another named medication has. These are ones that would be recommended, by the way. Acupuncturists have never caused 12,000 babies to be born with missing limbs like thalidomide. I'll mention that one because that's historic. We know that did. I used to know a chap when I was growing up who was a thalidomide kid, a very nice chap, but it was so sad to see the disfigurement to his physique. But he was very knowledgeable, a very good chap. Anyway, the vast majority of people are still at risk from harm in their lifetime from mainstream medicine. But the good folks over at Skeptics magazine have been chasing after the chiropractors and the acupuncturists. That's a real shame because we need critical minds to expose bad science where it counts to improve treatment. Sadly, they're asleep at the wheel. The truth is that mainstream medical industry routinely profits from ineffective treatments, unnecessary treatments, treatments that cause long-term side effects that are worse than the conditions they are meant to treat, and regularly administers expensive treatments with large profit margins where cheaper treatments do an equally better job. They also regularly administrate treatments that are not properly backed by solid evidence or good science. Something that happened in 2020, and then the subsequent rushed out by the speed of science is something that illustrates that really quite nicely, and that loads of people lined up to have pushed into their arm. And it turns out, of course, it was the worst thing that they could possibly do. Final bit on here that I want to read out. Whenever there is a new scandal, people assume it's a one-off thing. It's bound to happen from time to time, and it can't be helped. They can't imagine that the rot is in the system itself, which is bound to turn out these sort of results given its incentive structure. More sickness equals more profits, and all the institutions that are supposed to provide checks and balances are on the receiving end of funds generated by the treatment of illness rather than the promotion of good health. If the book sounds interesting, it is called Big Pharma, Guess It Quacks Like a Duck. I'll leave the link in the description, by Anthony Samaroff. And it does give his qualifications at the bottom there. So anyway, that was sent to me, and I think that's very true. I don't know what you think. Your experience with the world of medication. I don't take any pills. I eat healthy. You see, try to eat healthy, do some exercise, and stay away from all those nasties. Of course, we've been talking about this over the last few years, exactly what one should do and try and get away from all of this. And it's very sad, is it not, when you hear or see things. I follow somebody on YouTube who's been diagnosed with something, and now he's got a shed loads of pills. And they take these pills religiously, believing everything the doctors say. And you can't help thinking that actually perhaps the pills they ought to take, if any pills at all, would be supplements, but better than supplements would be to eat as healthy as possible, drink plenty of filtered water, or pure water, and take some exercise. But it's the diet and things like raw milk and things like that are so important that people take. Now, of course, road traffic accidents and falling down the stairs with your bones sticking out of your skin, and your ears being caught and ripped off by, I don't know, some monkey in the jungle, obviously needs some sort of medical attention. But there is but these days it's, if you broke your arm and you went to the hospital, you'd be a bit wary, wouldn't you? I would be very wary, and here we are about to purchase a piece of land, and any minute now we're going to be sticking spades into the ground and may make an accident and actually stick the spade into the ground, chop off their toes, and then you've got to go into the hospital with 5 toes and the remains of your foot bandaged up, and saying, is there any chance you can stick them back on again? And please, can you stick them in the right order? By the way, those toes go on that foot and those toes ought to go on that foot. When I had my eye removed, I heard stories where people had gone in to have eyes removed and operations on their eyes, and the doctors had done it on the wrong eye. Can you imagine being blind in one eye? You had a problem in this eye, let's say, and they come in and they pull out that eye as well. And, oh, bugger. Sorry, pulled out the wrong eye. You're totally blind then. The incompetence is one thing, but the deliberate keeping people ill by the medicines that people are prescribed is terrible. I used to know a herbalist. Still know of her. I haven't seen her for a long time. Lovely lady. Her husband used to be a doctor, and he retired some years ago. And he said to her, oh, thank God I've retired. He said, now I can stop killing people. They were his words. I can now stop killing people. Because he was aware that it was his job. And of course, he had mortgages and financial things and various things. And of course, once he realised what he was doing, it's very difficult to just leave your job, isn't it? It takes a lot of ethics and morals to leave your job and say, I've had enough of this, I'm not doing it. But then you've got financial burdens. People who work for these companies probably know. I'm sure there are doctors and nurses who know that they are doing the wrong thing. There are plenty of those who were injecting something a few years ago, who were being paid, a little bit of money here and there, and they're probably feeling a bit guilty now as they start to see numbers of people dropping dead, or myocarditis on the rise, or turbo cancers, or any of these rather grim and nasty things happening to the very people that they told there would be nothing to worry about. If I was going to the doctor for anything now, I think I would be taking a piece of paper with me and saying, look, you're prescribing me these pills, that's fine. Will you personally sign this as a liability that if anything happens to me as a result of taking these pills you are prescribing to me, you will be personally liable? Watch the blood drain from their face as they try and find some way to back out of the door. Because if somebody is going to, in 5 minutes, administer you and have a look and go, oh yeah, you've got such and such, I'll just give you this drug, that's no problem. There you go, take that to the pharmaceutical people and they'll dish it out. If they're going to do that in such a short space of time, without thorough examination, without real consultation, without thinking deeply about what the medication is going to do, and they're not going to put, well, yes, I will personally be liable if things go wrong, or I will sort it out for you. If they're not going to take that, then why would you trust them? We used to have family doctors, didn't we, who knew the family, who would know that perhaps, mum and dad had suffered from such, and so when little Willie comes in and says, hello, I've got this problem, they would go, yeah, well, it's in the family, isn't it? And actually, I remember when your dad was only this small, he came in and his grandfather came in and we did this, and actually just a little bit of exercise here, or eating, or keeping off a bit of this food or that food, or you just need to do a bit more of this, or you need to go down and get some fresh air down at the start, or just take a bit more of this sort of protein or that, whatever it might be. Family doctors used to know their patients. We've lost all of that. Now it's, manufacturing. It's a machine. It's a conveyor belt, isn't it? People come in, they go out. You never see the same person twice. This is an indicative of the modern society. Is it a society that we want? Is that the society that we have craved for, that we've asked for? Is it? I don't think it is. I don't think, all this so-called progressive society that we're in. Oh, it's so important to be progressive, isn't it? It's so important. We are so progressive. Look at us. Ill, unable to do things, unable to think for ourselves, being duped by governments, being mesmerised by screens, being told what to do and believing everything we see on mainstream media. Yeah, I think that's a very progressive society. This book, Big Pharma, may be worth a look. Have a look. It's only a small book. I don't know how much it is. I've no idea. But I'll put the link in the description. Thank you very much for watching. Till next time, goodbye.